Fuel prices have since last year, April, continuously increased from when the country recorded some 6 Ghana cedis at the pumps to 17.99 for petrol and 23.49 that we are recording today. There are a number of variables that have contributed or that contribute to the price of petroleum products. On this edition of the Citi Newsroom, we're gauging the rate of increase and, of course, take a look at the price build-up and then also give you an understanding of what really the incessant increases mean to you, the consumer, and, of course, its impact on all other elements of our economic sustainability as a people. We want to speak to the Executive Secretary of COPEC, Duncan Amoah, and find out what really this means to the average consumer and if this is doomsday for petroleum users.
Petrol used to be 13.99. It's now 17.99, which is a 4 cedi variance. In percentage terms, you are doing a little around 32%. Diesel used to be around 17.99. It's also gone to 23.34. Percentage terms, you are doing above 28%. What that means in your spending, if you were doing 10 gallons a week to go to work, to run around the entire week, what it means is that now, if you are a diesel person, you would need at least 1,050 Ghana cedis to move around. Whereas previously, you would have done at the 17.99. If you were doing 10 gallons, you probably were going to do a little around 800. So tentatively, you would have to adjust your petroleum budget by at least 200 to 300 Ghana cedis if you are a diesel person for a week. What that means is that if you do the 1,050 for a week times 4, that's 4,200. And that is where we think that we are actually in a crisis. If you look at average incomes in Ghana for both public and private employees, you are doing between 2,400 to about 3,800. And if somebody has to spend close to 4,200 to be able to get by within a month, it tells you the sort of crisis we have plunged these people into.
Is there any end in sight?
We are not looking at the city doing any better. Importations are going to double because of the festivities that we are approaching. And that means that the currency may still take a battering. Once that happens, you are expecting to have prices go up further. Again, OPEC Plus has given an indication that they are working to cut back on production numbers. That can only mean one thing: global or FOB prices will go up. That is why I have said if we do not change course, if we do not see a certain urgent action, we are simply going to have fuel prices go up next week again.
All right, thank you very much. Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC Ghana, Duncan Amoah there. With that gloomy picture, let's speak to those who buy at the pumps and feel the real impact of the incessant increases in prices of petroleum products.
The way things are now, it's very hard. You work, at the end of the day, you just get like some peanuts, nothing. This economy is very, very bad. They should just do something and fix things for us, because the way things are going, it's getting out of hands.
Let's speak to some more drivers and get their perspectives. There's a gentleman parked here. I'm going to sit by him and engage him briefly. Looks like he's parked having his lunch. Let's find out what he also makes of the current increments.
A day I give 250 cedis. I send them to me. 1.1. I do 250 cedis. I send them to me.
250 cities. We to make many escapes. If I say a TSC,
why 250 cities? Yeah, because of the app now you use, so I'm a percentage in as for me. Why you Juma? Why me only? Why you Juma? Maybe 350. I just say, oh dear, 100 cities. We say, I'm a cow now. Now what's the behind when you chop money? And at least when you 100 cities. And crying a member unya. No, who engine our back one? My short.
Bo, yeah, but now woody, now woody go be. But I want short fuel and now woody go be.
Because there are zero na function na yendina eva eva njuja try on kakaka because chama system na hard quite a back of the mon kabi mai mon media mon kabi mai na ye bre ya rewo so ya no pa na okwa adwuma na wo rekura ho we say kakra wanya no wan digo be na wo ye mu a obeko fie with empty they say digo be na sa na ye di twetwa ho kakra.
I used to fill my tank after every day, my errands and all that. I used to fill my tank with only between 150 and 180 cedis.
This was when?
Oh, this was about a week ago. And now I have to, even as I speak to you, I bought 300 cedis of fuel. And it couldn't even fill my tank. This small car, it couldn't even fill my tank. You understand? It is way exorbitant. I mean, government must do something. You see, I don't know, but it looks like there's complicity and laxity among the people we have entrusted into power, the people we have voted for. You know, they are making things like very unbearable for the ordinary Ghanaian. You see, and it's crazy. It's simply just crazy. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just crazy. I mean, they must do something. They must sit up.
Oil marketing companies, perhaps the final link in the supply chain between importers and, of course, consumers. And so we want to engage the Association of Oil Marketing Companies on the recent increase in the price of petroleum products. We want to find out exactly what has contributed to this particular increase that we are witnessing.
We are not increasing based on just yesterday, last night one. It's throughout the week. The increment which has come, we are not passed on to the consumer. Because when you are going to buy the bulk of fuel again to come to transport to the fuel station, we need to have an aggregate of these prices so that we can pass it on consumer. And that will enable us to also top up and go and buy a quantity to bring it to the consumer once again. And now, a lot of things we are doing, we are borrowing money to buy the fuel. So obviously, it's not been easy. So that's why you see just an increase on that. But globally, for this window, soon will be windowless. Because we cannot really wait for 2 weeks.
I like the fact that you mentioned that because we made an observation that some of the OMCs really made the adjustments even before this particular.
Exactly, because if you go in to buy the products a certain period of time, you see that the price had increased. And you will not be able to recoup all your money, as it were, to go and buy the fuel, and which you may need some marginal increment in your purchases. So it's really what is happening. And unfortunately for this particular window, as if I may call it that way, we have got some increases in the oil price, as well as our cedi dollar relationship is being appreciated. So it becomes a very difficult phenomenon.
So what would really need to happen to give us some respite?
And we spend about 120 million in respect of forests for us, this sector. But remember, we are not the only sector which needs the dollar. And that's only about 1/3 of what we need. So actually, we need about $400 million every month to bring the product here with the support of the forests. $400 million, and we are not getting it. And we only get 120 million. So the shortfall had to go for the market. And that's where we have a problem, because the market rate is not like the BOG rate. It's higher. So obviously, when you come back, then you find yourself in the quagmire of this cedi dollar relationship.
it is established that we're in a deregulated industry, and so the price increment really does not lay or sit at the table of government. However, there are several variables that make up the price build-up. We've come to the regulator of the industry, the National Petroleum Authority, to see what the days ahead prior to the end of the year mean for consumers of petroleum products.
The recent development basically stemmed from the volatility that we are all seeing within the forest industry, where the cedi keeps changing against the dollar. Because of the volatility of the cedi against the dollar and the fact that you ought to be guaranteeing a certain return on investment from the end of the supplier, you ought to be a little flexible with what previously was established or has been established to be the windows within which the prices are supposed to vary.
As a regulator, although we are in a deregulated sector, clearly you have your projections and your predictions for the last bit of the year. With these same projections and predictions, should we look forward to any mitigating factors or interventions or otherwise?
So like I said, primarily around this time, what is within our control and what we probably will be able to help is the regularity of the product out there in the market. And so we're trying as much as possible to guarantee the supply. You realize that in the last 1-2 weeks, one of the discussion outside pricing has been the availability of the product. Some are predicting shortage of the product. We're working so hard to ensure that there's going to be the product in the market all year round. On the issue of price, we normally would have our own in-house study that informs us of the outlook and to what we should plan. But we normally use more of it for our in-house consumption than put it out there. Because as you would agree with me, because of the central nature of the responsibility of NPA, what we say normally can be taken as gospel, and it can inform what people would want to do. So we are careful in the speculation, prediction, or wanting to make any assumptions. We want to work with the data as and when it is needed for the market or the consuming public to know. So for now, I would not want to speak about pricing. The variables that determines them, largely the taxes and levies that are within the mandate of government. I would not want to speak to them as well, because it is the Ministry of Energy and Finance that can't speak to that. But we, like somebody said, we are like Ajuachro. Anytime you just come to us and say, do this, we'll do that.